Tonkotsu Ramen is probably the global ramen icon, and its rich and creamy broth is enjoyed by many people around the world. And in this video, I'm gonna introduce you to the way I make my own tonkotsu broth with a few important tips. There are two kinds of bones I'd like to use in combination today. One is knuckle bones and the other is pork spine. The reason why I'd like to blend them together is that because they have different flavor profiles. While the knuckle gives richness and creaminess to the broth, the spine gives profound umami. So when it comes to the knuckles, make sure that they're cut in half and bone marrows are exposed. Right, let's get started now. And firstly, we're gonna clean the bones. Firstly, we're going to soak the bones in cold water for 6 hours to get rid of the blood. By doing this, you can achieve the broth without funkiness. Some ramen chefs skip this process to make the broth intentionally funky, as it can also be part of flavor when it comes to ramen. But since such kind of broth is usually love it or hate it, I'd like to make broth that anyone can enjoy in this video. Now 6 hours have passed, you see the water looks pinkish, so we're going to throw it away. Now we're going to remove the center of vein in the spine because that releases unpleasant smell. So in order to do this process, make sure to ask your local butchers to cut it in half lengthwise. So the next step is to parboil the bones to remove the scum. Put the bones back into the pot and cover with water. Now bring it to a boil on a full whack, then simmer for 10 minutes on medium heat, constantly skimming off the scum. After 10 minutes, or when you don't see the brown foam anymore, it's time to strain the bones again and rinse them under running cold water. And that's how to clean the bones when you make tonkotsu broth. Well, it seems like a lot of things to do, but when it comes to broth making, this kind of effort really makes difference. So I strongly recommend you guys not skip this. All the bones are properly cleaned now, so it's time to boil them. Now place the cleaned bones back into the pot and add water. This time I've got 1 kilo of spine and 1 kilo of knuckles. To that we're gonna add 5 liters of water. We're aiming to end up with 4 liters of tonkotsu broth, so start by adding 4 liters of water and note the level it reaches. Now pour in the rest of the water. Turn the heat to high and bring it to a boil. Once it starts to boil, reduce the heat to medium, and from this point we're going to keep it boiling for 8 hours. The reason it takes so long is to extract the full umami from the bones, and the boiling process also helps the water emulsify with the fat from them. Now you'll notice white foam forming on top of the broth as it boils, but there's no need to skim it off. Here are some important tips to keep in mind. Firstly, stir the broth every half an hour to help promote emulsification. Secondly, after a few hours boiling, use a wooden spatula to smash the bones and break up the connective tissues. This helps release the bone marrow into the broth. Finally, add boiling water as needed, topping up with a few liters whenever the broth level drops below the line we noted. By applying these tips to your broth making, you'll achieve a fantastic final result. Finally, after 8 hours, the tonkotsu broth is ready. Let's turn off the heat and strain the bones from the broth. Now look at this perfectly emulsified, rich tonkotsu broth packed with umami and porky goodness. Okay, that was how to make tonkotsu broth. It requires a bit of effort and time, but it's definitely worth it. Give it a try. And in my next video, I'm going to show you how to make tare, a seasoning sauce for tonkotsu ramen. Right, that's it for this video. If you liked my recipe, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel as well. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you later.